All right, boys and girls. So last week we talked about photosynthesis in plants and how that is the way plants make food versus humans who have to get their food from some other source. So now we're going to talk about plant reproduction. Now, animals reproduce by either laying eggs or having a baby, but plants reproduce through seeds or spores. Most plants that you'll study reproduce through seeds. Spore-bearing plants are things like ferns and moss. They don't produce seeds. They're released by the plant parent and carried away by the wind. And then if they find a suitable land when they stop moving through the wind, they'll reproduce as that moss or that fern. Seeds, however, are produced in the flowering part of plants, and then the interior of the seed contains the embryo or all the genetic material of the plant body. And then if the seed germinates in the correct environment, it will grow into a plant. So, what are the parts of a flower that allow the plant to reproduce? There are several that you need to know. Now, in this picture, you can see where they would be, but I have flowers to actually show you. So, over here, we have two different flowers, and this part right here, the petals of the flowers, are what attract pollinators, because pollinators has to happen in order for the plant to reproduce. The pollen goes from flower to flower of the same plant or same type of plant in order for the plant to reproduce. Pollinators would include honeybees, hummingbirds, butterflies, bats, and other animals. Wind and water can also act as pollinators. Okay, so they take the pollen from one flower and it's left on another flower, and the pollen travels down the pistil of the flower to the ovary, where it reaches the ovule and develops into a seed. But the pollen has to go between flowers of the same species in order from seeds to be produced. So if a pollinator came to this rose and then flew to this tiger lily, it would not matter. It would have to go from rose to rose or tiger lily to tiger lily. But anyway, I'm going to be able to show you the parts of the plant with these two flowers here. Okay, so the petals. These are bright colored. They attract the pollinators to the plant itself. The sepal, you can see really well here on this rose. It's the green leaves down at the base. Now this flower is obviously dying because it's off of the plant. But the sepal, when it was fresh, was holding the flower and holding the leaves as it grew. And as the flower grew, the sepal expanded. But this green leaf right here at the top is called the sepal, and it protects the growing flower as it buds and then blossoms. Okay, the stamen is the structure that produces pollen, and you can see that here in the tiger lily. Okay, so there's several pieces here in the middle, not the tallest ones, but the shorter ones are the guys that produce pollen. Okay, those are the stamen. The stigma is all the way at the top of the pistil, right here, and it is sticky. Pollen sticks to this and then can travel down the pistil, which is this tube right here, down this tube to the bottom, the base down here, right in here, which is called the ovary. And inside the ovary, inside this part, is the ovule, and the ovule is where the genetic material is. So the pollinators take pollen from tiger lilies, from their stamen here. And these littler guys, see? It's hard to show you with one hand holding this camera. But if you look here, you can see the smaller guys are the stamen, so that one. And they take the pollen from stamen on other plants and then fly it to this plant, and it would stick to this part, which is the stigma at the top of the pistil. It would go down the pistil into the ovary and then into the ovule. And that is how plants reproduce.